Members, we've got a quorum. I think we can start. There will be 3 sessions today. After the first session finishes at 5 p.m., there will be a 10-minute break. So session number 2 will start at 5:10. And after the end of the second session, there will be a 30-minute dinner break. After the dinner break, we will continue with the third session. So if you would like to order dinner, please fill in the forms before you and pass the forms to the steward. A point of order. Let me finish. I'll call your name later. Now, since the meeting of the Finance Committee started on the 2nd of May, we have so far dealt with only one agenda item. And so we have accumulated a large number of items to deal with. And we have 27 items on the agenda today. In the next few weeks, we'll have to hold special meetings and extra meetings. And the Secretariat will inform members of the arrangements later. And concerning pecuniary interests, if members have direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to the items being dealt with today, please disclose the nature of the interest before you speak, and please do so under Section 83A of the Rules of Procedure. And may I draw members' attention to voting arrangements for members who have direct pecuniary interest, and this is Section 84 of the Rules of Procedure. And this is, and we are still discussing FCR 2014-2015 number 2. This item seeks approval of the recommendations of the Public Works Subcommittee made at its meeting held on the 19th of March this year. And in fact, we are dealing with paper 38. This paper is to be singled out for voting. This item seeks members' approval to upgrade part of 747CL entitled Advanced Site Formation. I will call your name later. Advanced Site Formation and Engineering Infrastructure Works at Kutong North New Development Area and Fanling North New Development Area detailed design and site investigation to Cat A at an estimated cost. Chairman, a point of order. Members should be consulted before the item is put to the vote. I just want to remind you that we're not voting on the item yet. Sorry, please sit down. Please do not disrupt the proceedings of the meeting. If it is not a point of order, then I will not deal with it. I've just called 999, Chairman. I've called the police and the fire services department. Members, please start to speak. Only I've called your name. Please stop. Under Section 45 of the Rules of Procedure, I'm of the view that this is not proper behavior. And so please stop. So I will finish what I have to say, and then I will talk about the procedures. And to answer members' questions, we have Mr. Eric Ma, Under Secretary for Development, Mr. Thomas, Deputy Secretary for Development, Mr. Chan, then Mr. Wong Ming To, Project Manager, CEDD, Mr. Lawman Tim, Chief Engineer, CEDD, Ms. Jacinta Wu, Assistant Director of Planning, and Ms. Cecilia Lee, Assistant Director of Social Welfare. Now we have had 7 meetings and we've spent 13 hours on this item. And members have spoken for a total of 168 times, and I understand that motions to adjourn the discussion and the proceedings on the item have been moved and dealt with. And I'm of the view that there has been sufficient discussion on the item. And from this meeting onwards, we need to deal with motions moved under Section 37A of the Finance Committee procedure. So after we've dealt with members' motions, we will put the item to the vote. We had our first meeting on this matter on the 2nd of May. And so this is the decision to deal with motions moved under 37A. I have made reference to the advice given by our legal advisor. Since the 2nd of May, we've received motions from Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, Mr. Gary Fan, Mr. Chen Chi-chun, Mr. Leung Yu-chong, Ms. Claudia Mo, and Mr. Albert Chan. And there are a total of 939 motions moved under Section 37A of the FC procedure. And out of the 939, 898 were moved by or were submitted by Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Now, under Section 37A of the FC procedure, it is stated that a member may move a motion without notice on a certain agenda item. I understand that there are different views as to how many such motions a member can move. The administration has also expressed concern about this matter. I've instructed the Secretariat to carry out a review on the process of formulating the procedure under Section 37A of the FC procedure. And I've asked the Secretariat to also look at the application of this section. So in the interim, I will still stick to the established mode of operation and procedures. It will allow members to move more than one motion without notice on one item. Out of the 939, I am of the view that there are these 20 from Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, 10 from Mr. Gary Fan, 6 from Mr. Chen Chi-chun, 1 from Mr. Leung Yu-chong, 2 from Mr. Claudia Mo, and 1 from Mr. Albert Chan. I am of the view that these will be dealt with by members. Members will decide whether these motions should be handled. And for the remaining motions, I think some of them are very similar. And so in order that we can use our meeting time effectively, I've already asked members to try to amalgamate some of the motions. And concerning the decisions on the individual motions, members can please refer to the reply given to members. And the reply has also been copied to all FC members. I believe I have struck the right balance between, on the one hand, individual members' rights to move motions, and on the other hand, the need to make sure that our meetings can proceed in an orderly and efficient manner. I'll call your name. Let me call your name first.
Ms.
Sit Ho. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I think, Chairman, you need to deal with the safety issue first. Chairman, I've called the police. I've dialed 999. The Secretariat will deal with this matter. Sorry, the mic has not been switched on. Please stop. Please speak only when I've called your name, but I have noted what you have said. Ms. Sit Ho, thank you. Chairman, I have no alternatives but to move under Section 39 of the FC procedure that this meeting should now adjourn. In fact, at the last meeting, I spoke for the first time only. I asked about the population policy. I asked about communication with the residents and the villagers. Such questions had not been asked by other members. And before the meeting ended last time, I pressed the button indicating my wish to ask further questions. But then you issued paper 102 to us in the afternoon yesterday. Now, in fact, before you put the item to the vote, you should ask members whether they have further comments or questions. And I don't think you have really implemented this policy, and I think what you're proposing to do is most unfair to me. And so under Section 39 of the FC procedure, I would now like to move that the meeting of the committee be now adjourned. Please deal with this motion. The clerk, please. Yes, thank you. Ms. Sit Ho is moving a motion under Section 39 of the FC procedure to adjourn the meeting of the committee. So according to Section 39, each member can speak once on this motion for no more than 3 minutes, and then the matter will be put to the vote. All right. So I will now start a debate under Section 39 of the FC procedure. Those who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan, I've got a question. Chairman, firstly, I've got 2 points of order. Ms. Sit Ho asked why you didn't allow or permit members to ask questions. I think you need to give a reply, and I think the legal advisor should also give an explanation. Ms. Sit Ho has only asked for the first round. Now, of course, if members repeat themselves, you can rule their questions out of order, but you can't stop or disallow members from asking questions. And concerning Mr. Albert Chan's point, I think this is about whether we are in full compliance with fire safety regulations, because there are a lot of people working here, the staff, our assistants, and I think we have to make sure that the fire escapes are kept clear, because we can't proceed with our meeting when there are fire hazards in this building. So can you assure us that fire safety has not been affected by the special arrangements? Because in this council, at no time should we be breaching the fire services ordinance. We shouldn't set a bad example for society.
Yes, I understand your point, but then this isn't a matter of point of order, because the Electoral Commission has already dealt with the safety concerns. The Secretariat will also pay attention to this matter. So we should deal with the conduct of the meeting now. So please focus on this point. So Ms. Sit Ho has moved a motion, and this is under paragraph 39 of the FC procedure. That is, she's moving the motion that the further proceedings of the council be now adjourned. Please queue up to speak. Speaker is off mic. Well, I hope you won't have a debate with me. Well, I have already dealt with all the points, including the first point. I have already addressed that in my opening remarks. So please do not have a discussion with me. There's legal advice, and it is in writing as well. So please do not have this discussion with me again. Otherwise, I will be forced to enforce Rule 45. The first to speak, Ms. Sit Ho. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving this motion to adjourn the proceedings is in fact something I have to do out of no choice. I have heard what members have asked, but I think nobody has ever talked about the overall population policy. Towards the end of our last meeting, I raised this point. That is, for the local population, our birth rate is such that we can't even replace the population. So how come that we are told that the population will grow to 8.9 million and then the figure was later revised to 8.5 million. I think this is unrealistic. For the population policy, when we were first told about the development of Northeast NT, I think Mr. Pt1 couldn't answer our questions and he tried to shirk the responsibility and ask us to refer to the working group on the population policy. But then the CIS4A didn't actually tell us why they thought there would be such a population growth. I think in that paper it's about services for the elderly and also population issues. Now, I think we need to have a meeting with the villages affected. Mr. Chen went to meet with them twice for a show, but then it wasn't merely going through the motions, it was but formalities only. And there was a demonstration by the villagers. I don't think there was the opportunity to have a detailed discussion about compensation and village relocation. Look at the case of Choi Yun village of XRL project. Villages there were able to have the chance to have a very patient talk with the STH. Though it wasn't satisfactory, but still they were able to come up with a relocation package for the village. So you can't simply expect results by just putting up a show. You need to talk to the village representatives as well as the groups helping the villages. Understand that officials always rejected to have such meetings. You think you can count on your statutory powers to resume land. You would not give consideration to the people living there whose livelihood depends on the land. So this is no different. You are not different from the bullies. So I think there must be an early discussion with the villagers. If the administration is not willing to do this, of course, this has to be withdrawn. But now you're putting the matter to the vote, and that's why I have to move a motion to adjourn the further proceedings of the committee. That is, we should suspend our meeting, and then we should get 1 more week's time so as to enable communication between the administration and the villagers. Dr. K.K. Kwok. I think all the procedures are in a mess. It has been so ever since. We want to be told as to why you think you're justified to stop us from asking questions. Ms. Ho told you about the concern on her part. Many other members haven't actually asked questions. Usually, while we are following the procedure, then we will start to have questions in mind. So you can't lightly suspend the questioning. Legal advisor? Well, the 3 minutes are for you to speak. I think I can put a question to legal advisor. How come that the legal advisor can choose not to answer? Well, we are having a round of speech concerning the motion to adjourn the proceedings. Well, you have already ruled that questions could no longer be asked. That can be dealt with on another occasion. It isn't really the time to deal with that matter. When then? Under 37A, we have to put the matter to the vote. Please speak under Rule 39. Now, I would like to give my time to the legal advisor to address this point. This is most unreasonable. This isn't the time for the legal advisor to answer questions. You are outrageous. The way you handle that matter is such that you are most impartial, and this is being watched by many people in front of the TV set. You want to defend the administration. Please speak under Rule 39. I think it is very clear that the way you handled the matter means that we have to support the motion to adjourn the proceedings. This is because you failed to address the many problems faced by us now. we have to ask questions along the way while we are getting the explanations and answers from administration. So you are imposing this on us. Should there be repetition? Of course, we're entitled to stop a member, but we haven't been repeating ourselves. We're talking about the intricate relationships there, as well as the interests there. We haven't been given adequate answers. You should have given them ample time to speak. You haven't. And now you say that you want to act in accordance with paragraph 37A. Later on, I don't actually know what will happen, but I think villagers can see for themselves how the pro-establishment camp, including you yourself, that things have gone down the road of no return. I don't think we can allow this to continue. We have to secure an adjournment. Dr. Fernando Jiang, I speak in support of the motion to adjourn the proceedings. First of all, today, the entire Legislative Council building is subject to very tight security. It is as if we are faced with a high risk. I find it very regrettable. Now, this is the place where we speak the voice of the people. Now, the people of Hong Kong have their livelihood being jeopardized, and then they want to come here to express their views. And yet, it seems that we are treating them like the thieves and robbers. I don't think this is what is expected of a civilized society. And I don't think this represents the spirit of the Hong Kong legislature. It is a shame on us. The Legislative Council welcomes the attendance of the public. We always hold our meetings under public inspection. Never have we been so afraid of the concern of the public. If individual members of the public are stirring up trouble, yes, we have to deal with them. But you can see that the majority of the members of the public are peaceful and they're law-abiding. All that they want to do is to air their grievance. They want to tell us what justice they have suffered. And today, it is exactly the forum on which we would like to work through the mechanism of the LegCo so that we can question the administration, so that we can unearth the truth of this matter as much as possible and try to have an analysis of the problem so that we can examine the topic of the development of the Northeast NT. We want to find out whether there is a transfer of interest by the administration, whether the weak and the powerless villagers and farmers are being bullied. Now, you are saying that there will be residential development, but I think you are allowing the real estate developers to make a profit. I don't think this is a plan to help the people of Hong Kong. We are here to act as gatekeepers. We are the monitoring role. Now, I think we are going to sacrifice this function, and this is being done under you. Now, the legal advisor gave us a paper in relation to her reply. I think the most important word is as follows. When the FC encounters the following, there is a member deliberately prolongs the proceedings of the committee, then the reasonable way to deal with it is to have negotiation and agree on a reasonable period of time and agree on appropriate measures to complete the deliberation. So the assumption is on deliberate prolonging the proceedings. The next to speak, Ms. Priscilla Leung, Dr. Priscilla Leung. Mr. Chairman, I remember that towards the end of our last FC meeting, I spoke. I disagreed with what you did, some of the things that you did. I think you said that the last 7 members were asking questions. I think last time Ms. Emily Lau was also talking about whether 37A should be dealt with. You I didn't press the button. You said they should be the final 7, and then there was a start again. Now today, once again, you talk about paragraph 39. I think Fernando Zhang would be asking questions he already asked before. As you have already said, there were over 100, almost 200 questions being asked. I think last time we all accepted that the 7 members who asked questions were the last 7 to ask. They were the final 7, and you drew a line. Now, I think you should enforce your ruling. You should be clear about what you have ruled on. Just now, members asked the legal advisor, Mr. Jimmy Ma, to explain the matter again. I think Mr. Ma said that he made it very clear in his written reply. And then a member said he couldn't remember, and so Mr. Ma almost read the letter from beginning to end. Now, it seems that we are getting this once again. Are we going to go through it every time we have a meeting every week? So, Mr. Chairman, you need to make a ruling. I think we have to rule on this. Yes, there are issues which will be controversial in the community. If you don't do this, then there's no end to it. We don't know when it will come to an end. Last time, the legal advisor was asked to read out from his letter. It seems that this time he will be asked to do this again, though the request comes from another member. So I speak against the motion. Mr. Gary Fan, I think you have qualms. I think it is unfair for you to chair the meeting. For the development project of NT Northeast, I think it is full of problems. It is hugely controversial. It is no less than the funding request for the XRL towards end of 2009. And therefore, through many meetings and through many questions, we try to seek clarification. Unfortunately, I think the private residential land will be up to the scramble of the 4 major real estate developers. We have got 300 hectares of agricultural land, 50 found in NT Northeast, and they will be uprooted. It will be totally destroyed. There hasn't been any clear clarification as to how farmers will be relocated and how residents will be rehoused. Now, for those living in the NT Northeast new development area, we have got over 1,000 elderly people living in elderly homes. What are we going to do? Can they stay put? Can they remain in situ? We don't know. Now, the administration hasn't taken into account our concerns. The administration hasn't tried to approach those people who have fallen outside their consultation scope. Now, you have a conflict of interest. So I think you try to enforce the rules of procedures, and you are in fact trying to exercise powers not given to you under the rules of procedures. You are abusing the powers. We have to adjourn the proceedings. Otherwise, the arguments won't end. So, in fact, for the first and second sessions of the FC last week, I was present throughout. For the third session, I wasn't able to attend because I had to teach. I wasn't able to ask all my questions. Even after dealing with Sid Ho's motion, I would still have to ask more questions.
You to explain to me under what section of the FC procedure you can disallow us from continuing to ask questions to monitor the administration's work. And the legal advisor will also have to give us a clear explanation. So you can't simply try to pull wool over our eyes. You can't simply stop us from discharging our duties as LegCo members. Ms. Claudia Mo. Chairman, when I came to LegCo, I saw at least 6 police vehicles, and in fact, the gates were all, and I saw that the gates were all shut over there. Now, in fact, this legislature is supposed to reflect public opinion, but it seems that we are now trying to guard ourselves against public opinion. We regard public opinion as very frightening as fire. Now, let's adjourn the proceedings and then have some discussion and consultation. Why can't we do is, the government is only concerned about integration between Hong Kong and the mainland. The government is only concerned about giving benefits to the developers. I think the administration has not been able to convince Hong Kong people to accept its reasons. So people voice their opinion. Such opinion has fallen on deaf ears. Now the legislature has to check the powers of the executive. We need to monitor the work of the executive. We are not here to go along with the executive, to support what the executive wishes to do. Now, in fact, the legal advisor hasn't really given a very clear explanation. You said many questions have been raised, but there are new questions, new queries arising. The developers will stand to benefit. This area will become not the back garden, but the front garden of mainland billionaires. Initially, the administration said that there would be large quantities of PRH units. In fact, that's not going to be the case. Now, these vegetables you see were given to us by farmers in Northeast NT. This is a rural area. You are going to turn it into an urban area. So why are you not doing anything about the golf course? That's because this golf course is the leisure ground of billionaires. And then it has been alleged that Mr. Eric Ma may have some conflict of interest. He used to work in a certain company, and he has a lot of ties with certain developers. So please adjourn the proceedings on this item. Mr. Wu Chi-wai. Yes, Chairman. Last time, there was also a motion moved to adjourn the proceedings on this item. I want to say that the DP will support this motion today. This motion on adjourning the further proceedings of the committee. Now, if colleagues have questions to raise and those questions have not been raised before at our meetings, then it is not right for the chairman to disallow such questions and to prevent the administration from giving answers. It's our responsibility as legislators to ask questions at meetings. We need to make things clear. We have to sort things out. Yes, Chairman, I understand that you can give a ruling on questions or comments being repeated, and you can disallow those questions. But if members have new points to raise, if they have new questions to ask, I think such information and the replies are very important in helping us make our decisions. Mr. Ho has raised a question about our population policy. So is it that our population will really reach 8.4 million? We want to have a reply from the administration. We do not want to see excessive land planning. We do not want to see the administration wrongly projecting development needs. Now, I understand that for Siu Ho Wan, for Sunny Bay, for Tung Chung East, there are a number of studies going on, and the amount of land involved is huge. And so I think, Chairman, it's unacceptable that you bar members from asking questions that have not been asked before. Chairman, I find it totally unacceptable that you are proposing to draw a line barring members from asking further questions. Last time, I thought that I would not support the motion under Section 39, but then today I will support this motion moved by Mr. Ho because members still have new questions to ask. Mr. Leung Yu Chong, I want to say that we have very maximum security here today. This building is like a maximum security prison. So I think it's meaningless to continue with the meeting if members are not respected at all. In Hong Kong, we do not have true democracy, but we still have freedoms and liberty. Members of the public, electoral members can still say what they want to say, but it seems that today such freedom is going to be restricted. And then thirdly, Chairman, I think you are really abusing your powers and authority. If we allow you to continue to chair the meeting, then we are conniving at your abusing your powers as the chairman. The chairman's role is to chair a meeting, to conduct a meeting. The chairman is responsible for ruling the relevance or otherwise of questions raised. The chairman can rule whether members are repeating themselves. But chairman, you are not discharging the duties of a chairman of a meeting. So in our view, you in fact should no longer continue to chair the meeting. In fact, you shouldn't have continued to chair the meeting, but of course you've refused to let another member chair the meeting. And so I support this motion to adjourn further proceedings of this committee on this item. In fact, we have not been able to adequately reflect the views of the public in this committee. As Ms. Sito has pointed out, she has only spoken once. She has only asked questions for one round. And if you are allowed to continue to chair the meeting, she will have no further chance of asking questions. So Ms. Ho and electoral members are elected by the people of Hong Kong. Ms. Ho is a directly elected member, and she has to speak on behalf of her voters in this council, in this meeting. And how come she's not allowed to speak and ask questions on behalf of her voters? Chairman, unless members are allowed to speak on behalf of the Hong Kong public and to ask questions, it's meaningless to continue with this meeting. Mr. Kenneth Leung, it seems that we are not following the rules. During meetings. Now, Ms. Ho raised a query under Section 46 of the FC procedure, and that is before the matter or before the chairman makes a decision, then he has to ask whether members have got further questions. And Ms. Ho really had no alternatives but to move an amendment, move a motion under Section 39. And in fact, on 14th of January 2010, Ms. Pauline Ng said that after the member concerned has spoken or has asked questions, if there are no other members who would like to ask questions or give comments, then under the ROP and the FC procedure, there are certain provisions, and may I refer also to Mr. Jimmy Ma's letter dated the 5th of June. So neither the ROP nor the FC procedure gives the chairman this power. In other words, if the member doesn't persist in irrelevance or tedious repetition of his own or other members' arguments, then can the chairman really direct him to discontinue? Now, under the basic law, Hong Kong doesn't have residual powers. Do you have residual powers then, chairman? Because there is no such power provided for in the ROP and the FC procedure. Yes, Chairman, I understand that you need to make sure that meetings are conducted in an efficient and orderly manner. But then, Chairman, if you do not follow the FC procedure, if you do not follow the ROP, then can meetings proceed smoothly? Now, you have to act in accordance with the ROP and the FC procedure. 168 rounds of questions were raised, and we have 68 members who can ask questions. So on the average, each member has only asked 2.47 questions. And in fact, I think it's not surprising to have one member asking 6 to 7 rounds of questions. So please follow the ROP and the FC procedure. Mr. Chen Chi-chun, Chairman, I support Ms. Sit Ho's motion under Section 39 of the FC procedure. 2 members have raised concerns about personal safety. I don't think we should continue with this meeting because we need to be assured of the safety of officials, LegCo members, and our staff and those in a public gallery. This morning I went to the Lai Chi Kok Reception Center. I met Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Of course, he would still apply to the Director of Correctional Services or Commissioner of Correctional Services to allow him to come back to join the meeting. And he has asked me to say this. Leung saying, you can't disallow members from asking questions. You have to ask whether there are members who have still got questions. And second, if you say you wish to draw the line, you have to make sure that nobody objects to that. Otherwise, you have no power to draw the line. You have no power to disallow members from asking further questions. The FC procedure and ROP do not empower you to ban or prohibit members from asking questions. Now, even Long Hair is in the reception center. He will still seek a judicial review on your ruling if you make such a ruling. Now, some members have only asked questions for a few rounds. Last time I asked about a dozen questions, and some members asked about 20 questions. How come I can't continue to ask questions? And then there is a Mr. Chen Chun Fong. Chairman, you said that there is a Mr. Chen Chun Fong from the administration's team. Now, where is he? Tell me where he is. Now, we asked him some questions, and he gave us a reply only yesterday. And I wish to follow up on many points in his reply, but the chairman wants to disallow us from asking further questions. So, we received his reply, Mr. Chan's reply, only yesterday, and I want to follow up on many points. I want to clarify many points. And Mr. Paul Chan has said in his blog, or rather he has in fact written an article in the newspaper. So he still wants to clarify his position. So how come he's not here today? If he's not free today, if he doesn't have time today, then we should adjourn the proceedings and we should have a meeting only when he is free to come.
Well, today in the papers, he said that there shouldn't be any procrastination and everybody should be clear about the facts. He should have come. Instead of you, Chairman, trying to draw a line on behalf of the administration. Now, we can't put questions to Paul Chen. We can't put questions to this Michael Chen Chun Fong. So it means that you have your way. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yin? Chair? I speak in support of Sit Ho's motion to adjourn the proceedings. I think by moving this motion, we're trying to help the administration. This is because Paul Chen said that we shouldn't be procrastinating anymore and we should know the facts clearly. I think it's a matter of knowing the facts clearly, and there shouldn't be more suppression. The more suppression there is, the greater the resistance you get. Now, there is a time bomb, and we should defuse it as early as possible. Whether you get it approved or not, I think the time bomb will still be there, and it's going to explode soon, one day or other. Instead of having an explosion, I think it's better for you to handle it better. Don't use a high-handed approach to impose your will on us. Now, Mr. Chairman, you don't allow members to ask questions. This is against procedural justice. You said that there would be a negotiation, there would be a discussion according to the legal advisor's letter, but I don't think there has ever been any negotiation. On the one hand, there are members who haven't had their questions asked, all the questions asked, and you don't allow questions to be asked anymore. So you are weakening our rights and powers, but you don't care at all. You want to help the administration. You want to protect the administration, but you are doing more harm than good, because at the end of the day, the administration has to live with the outcome, and then the grievance is still escalating. The best way to go about it is to adjourn the proceedings. Now, you can see that it is a matter of collusion between the administration and the businessmen, and it is biased towards the businessmen. So if the administration is not to come back to the right track, and if we don't start afresh the development of anti-Northeast, I'm afraid the problem would just get aggravated. So for the motion to adjourn the proceedings, in fact, we would like to see how we can get more time to deal with the problem properly. Now, you see many protesters outside the electrical, and the electrical building itself is subject to so much security that it is watertight. As I've said, this is jeopardizing the safety of all our staff by having such tight security. Never have I seen such things happening. When I came in, I was so unfamiliar with the scene that I thought I haven't been here before, because there's an iron gate on the second floor. But how much can you stop? Why don't you adjourn the proceedings? As Paul Chen has said, you need to know the facts clearly. You mustn't be lopsided towards the businessmen, the conglomerates. Just now, you asked about a Mr. Michael Chen Fong, PAS for Development. He's not able to come, and today he's being replaced by Mr. Thomas Chen Chung Ching. And let me remind the members of the public who are in the public gallery, you have to keep quiet all the time during the proceedings, and you mustn't interrupt our proceedings. Please bear this point in mind. Next, Miss Emily Lau. Mr. Chairman, I speak in support of the motion moved by Sid Ho, that is, we should adjourn the proceedings of the committee now. For the question before us, Mr. Chairman, well, in the society, there is huge controversy. This is because, according to the government's plan, thousands of citizens will have their well-being being jeopardized. But prior to this, you haven't had thorough discussion with them. I think the majority of the citizens are reasonable, but then the administration hasn't really given them a way out. You want to evict many of them, and yet you don't explain how they're going to be rehoused. For the farmers, you haven't got a policy to allow them to resume their farming. Now, just the other day, we were told that it's up to another director bureau to consider the matter. If you haven't considered everything carefully, then you should not have come to the electrical. And in relation to the elderly people there, again, you haven't given us a complete picture. In other words, you haven't yet talked to the citizens there with the aim of seeking a solution. Probably you think that you can have enough votes from the pro-establishment camp, and so you can get your way. But do we think that by securing the FC approval, that's the end of the matter? I think the citizens will continue to put up a fight. We have to ask them what problems they are facing, and we have to seek a solution. The residents there are most infuriated. They are in support of the project. I told them that, yes, I know you are in support, but do you know that others are also very angry because their problems are left unsettled? And so they have asked the lawmakers to fight on their behalf. Therefore, the society is being divided, and all of this has been started by the administration. Now, this has become a fortress. The electrical building has become a fortress. But for how many more times can we repeat this? We are now getting more and more heated arguments and very serious conflicts because the administration hasn't thought hard before approaching the electrical, trying to secure the electrical's support. I think you should let members ask questions. Even in the case of the XRL, our Secretariat as well as the Secretary General personally approached the lawmakers, considering the questions to be asked, how many questions to be asked, and then should put together the information. I think many of us are reasonable. Please allow us to ask the questions first before you slash your hammer and make a final decision. Next to speak, Mr. Obichen. Mr. Chairman, first of all, I have to seriously reprimand you for ignoring personal safety of staff and members of the public. About an hour ago, I raised the question of public safety. You said that if I were to continue, you would send me out. Please have it put on record. 1 hour ago, I called the police on 999. I made a report saying that the means of fire escape has been blocked. And immediately, I found that the smoke doors had been opened and they could not be closed again. And then for the rear staircase again, we have got something blocking the staircases. So 3 things being done. First of all, fire escapes being blocked, smoke doors being kept open, many of them. And then for the rear staircase for fire escape, again on either side there were cloth tapes to block it. Well, I think you tried to close one of the smoke doors secretly after a photograph has been taken. So the electrical is breaking the law knowingly. In the past, many tragedies took place because of the open smoke doors as well as the blockage of the fire escapes. We had a lot of investigations into such matters. I raised this point, and yet you didn't take note of my point because you have 3 conflicts of interest. You have interest in the Northeast. You are a member of the MTRCL, member of the board of the BOC, and you are also on the board of the Smart Tone. So you are ignoring our safety. You are ignoring the safety of the public. So you should be reprimanded. You should rise and leave your seat. You shouldn't be chairing the meeting if you ever have any sense of propriety. I made a report to the police. I would like to report to the FSD. It's absurd for the FSD or the police to inform the electrical. I'm saying that the electrical secretariat is breaking the law, so the police simply inform the electrical, report the matter to the electrical secretariat rather than reporting to the FSD. Now, the privileged and the rich would like to manipulate everything, even at the expense of lives and limbs. So with your protection from the pro-establishment camp, this has become a rubbish dump. I think it is a political issue. Political issues can only be resolved by political means. Now all the gates are shut. So does it mean that you have turned this into a prison? The legislature represents 3 million people of Hong Kong. We are here to monitor the government. But officials, I think you better go back home to sleep, or you go back to your office to carry on with your work. Now we are told that dozens of items are on the agenda waiting to be dealt with. Why don't you reshuffle the order and we can deal with the uncontroversial ones first? So you are just trying to make it difficult for us. Yesterday there was white terror. 3 persons were arrested. The other day I was present. I don't think that people were forcing their way. I don't know why the Secretariat had called the police. Nobody is reprimanding the SG, Mr. Chen. I have to do so. I think this isn't anything like forcing one's way. I was present throughout. There was one security guard who collapsed and nobody could go out. The police came, so people thought that you were trying to stop them, and so they tried to resist. Now, I asked the police. The police said that the LegCo asked the police to come to give assistance. How come that the LegCo asked the police to come in? How come that the LegCo should permit the police to come in? Please justify the calling of the police. I think we have the Powers and Privileges Ordinance. If you can't protect us, so you're calling in the police to scare us, so as to scare us into silence. The other day, people were in the hall. It was nowhere near the conference rooms or the chamber. Basically, it is a public place. Now we have to carry out a lot of measures, and then we have the Legislative Council Commission. It's all made up of LegCo members. Well, you are not doing justice to your next generation. You try to justify this by saying that you make it safe for us. No, for whose sake? In fact, you are turning it into a prison. I think sooner or later, something disastrous would happen. The other day, I was also advising people to disperse. Now you have resorted to this approach to restrict members from speaking. Now you said that since May we have been talking a lot. And so what? Why don't you withdraw it and then advance the other agenda items? It's very simple. You just don't want to budge, and so you just think that you will try to secure the approval. I don't think we should be wasting time. We shouldn't be wasting our precious lives. I think CY Leung can simply withdraw the item. Dr. Kenneth Chen, I speak in support of Sid Ho's motion. We should adjourn the proceedings of this committee now. We mustn't dwell on this topic anymore, only infuriating the citizens. 300 citizens are here. They would like the officials to go there to meet with them, listen to them. So, Mr. Eric Ma, are you going to meet them? Officials, are you going to meet them? They have come a long way to the Admiralty to want to have a dialogue with you, but you just lower your head and you are just daydreaming. Is it what we expect of a responsible government? This is a small circle government. Half of the members here are from the functional constituencies. They have been elected by small circles. And do they have any credibility? Do they have a mandate? You are taking the homes from them. You are stopping their farming activities, and you are depriving them of their livelihood.
In the development panel, in this term, we have had many rounds of discussion, and now this matter is before the FC, and we still haven't got satisfactory replies for the affected residents. And you only know how to write blogs, write articles. Paul Chan has written articles. He doesn't appear at our meetings, and Leung Seng only know how to support and defend the establishment. So is it that we should continue with this meeting. I think passing this motion is to give the administration opportunity to pause and think and to have discussions with those concerned. And we should not allow the chairman to abuse his authority. Now, this is a government which is not just. These are procedures which are not just. This is a development project which is not just. And is it that you should go all out to support such a government? How come we can't have our finance committee meeting downstairs? How come we can't face the residents, talk to them, explain your rationale to them? I think adjourning further proceedings on this item is the fairest and the most objective thing to do. If there are items which require urgent funding, let those items be advanced. We have the right to veto the government's proposal, and we can say no. So please do not use insulting or offensive language against other members or government officials. This is a reminder for members. And then next, Mr. Albert Ho. Chairman, I think members have made very strong comments because they think they are justified in feeling angry. Now, this development project is going to affect many people's lives and property. There are lots of complexities involved, and then the interests of many groups are also involved. So how can we try to resolve and reconcile these conflicts? How can we try to find the most effective solutions to these problems? If we want to develop a new town, is it that we must follow the previous mode of development? Is it that we should be developing another Cheung Kwan O or another Tin Shui Wai? Are there things and features that we can keep and retain? I think we need a new mindset, even if we want to develop a new town. It doesn't mean that we should just stick to the way we did things a decade or two ago. We need to be calm. We need to have discussions in order to achieve mutual understanding and to arrive at a win-win situation. The administration has decided to close its doors. It has decided to adopt a very high-handed approach on this matter. And Chairman, you are not abiding by the principles. You are not allowing members to exercise their rights to monitor the work of the administration. So no wonder why members feel so angry. So today, I think I must support Ms. Sitho's motion. The motion is to adjourn further proceedings on this item. Let's deal with the other items on the agenda first. For this item, this very important item, let's cool down. Let's have more discussions and consultation. And let's try to find a solution that is acceptable to all parties. Mr. Charles Mock, yes, I also want to say that I support Ms. Sitho's motion. Now, in fact, originally I supported the concept of development in Northeast NT, but then the developments in the past few weeks were very disturbing. Now, there are so many villagers, residents downstairs. They were here last week and also today. Of course, they also came on previous occasions. And you can see that they feel very strong resentment. Now, of course, I will not support unlawful behavior. But then yesterday, the police all of a sudden arrested 3 persons. Why only 3 persons? Is it that all those who break the law or who have broken the law should be arrested? Or are the three who led the movement? I think this is selective prosecution and it smacks of a political flavor. Now, some people feel that Lechko is taking action against these people and arresting these people. In fact, only the police have this power, and I think our reputation and our image and our dignity have been tarnished. I think we should adjourn the proceedings on this item. Let's sit down and talk with all those concerned. Now, please do not think that as there are enough votes in this committee and as there is such a helpful chairman, then the item will be passed anyway. Do you think having the item passed in the Finance Committee will solve all the problems? I think it's unwise to make a decision at this point in time. That would be inappropriate. So I support Ms. Sit Ho's motion. Let's give the administration more time to do the work it needs to do. And in this council, we have the duty to monitor the work of the administration. We're not here to facilitate the work of the administration. And in fact, in adjourning the proceedings on this item, we are in fact facilitating the work of the administration, because as a result, the administration will be able to get more time to hold discussions with the residents and the villagers. I think if the government really wants to talk to the residents, it can do so, and it won't need too much time to have such discussions with the residents. So, Chairman, please do not think that you must end the filibustering today. And I think I support Mr. Ho's motion. Mr. Alan Leung. Chairman, I want to say that I support Ms. Sit Ho's motion to adjourn further proceedings of this committee on the item. I think this is the only way out at this point in time. Chairman, 5 years ago, the Finance Committee discussed a highly controversial project, and that was the XRL project. And the then chairman of the Finance Committee, Emily Lau, did not seek to draw a line. As she has pointed out, she, through the Secretariat, consulted members. She asked members whether they had further questions, how much time would be needed, whether the questions would be new ones or repetitions, and so on and so forth. So that was how she dealt with the matter. And 5 years later, the administration comes back to this council telling us what has gone wrong with the XRL project. Now, if the pro-establishment camp had not supported the project without clarifying all the details, the XRL saga might not have arisen. And for this Northeast NT project, I think it's a more important project than the XRL. It has much more far-reaching implications, and I think more detailed consideration is required. Now, members still have got questions to ask. They are relevant questions, and Chairman, it seems that you are bent on drawing a line. In fact, the administration can advance the 10 to 20 items on the agenda which are not controversial and which are not related or which are related rather to people's livelihood, and in fact all these items can be advanced. But the administration has decided not to do this. They could have done that. So it seems that there is no way out except adjourning further proceedings on this item. Now, the chairman is acting in a barbaric manner, so is the administration. And so, let's adjourn the proceedings on this item and let the administration deal with issues that should have been dealt with. And then they can come back to us. All right, does any other member wish to speak? Then I wish to ask Mr. Pt1. Chairman, I listened to the comments made by members very attentively, and a member who was an academic made rather vicious remarks against others, including you, the chairman. All right, so members talk about safety of life and limb. That is precisely the reason. Last week, 8 people were injured. We do not want to see this happen again. And on the internet, we've seen messages and remarks which are misleading to the public. These people say that with this paper, then the boundary will be blurred, and Hong Kong will face disaster, and as a result there will no longer be one country, 2 systems, and as a result people have been asked to come to LegCo today, and in fact I understand that some Hong Kong people have really responded to the call. And I think it's just reasonable, totally reasonable, that security be stepped up. Chairman, many members have criticized you for not allowing members to ask questions. In fact, we've spent many meetings, many hours on this paper. Last Friday, we had a 6-hour meeting. 2 members said that they still had questions to ask. Ms. Sit Ho said that before the last meeting ended, she said she still had questions to ask. But in fact, she came down only 15 minutes before the meeting ended and started asking questions. And I think her objective was to make sure that the meeting would go on and the matter would not be put to the vote. Please do not interrupt me. Let me finish. Mr. Gary Fan said that he had to teach, and as a result, he couldn't attend the last session of the FC meeting last Friday, and so he needs to continue to ask questions today. If that's the way we operate, then meetings can go on forever, because if people do not attend meetings and then they say they can come back next time and continue to ask questions, should we allow that? Now the chairman has to make sure that the proceedings of the meeting can and go on in an orderly manner. Last time, Chairman, you said that you would act and you would handle motions under 37A. I think you were right in making the decision, and you've already written to us telling us that you will start proceedings under section 37A. And so after you've dealt with this motion, let's move straight to the motions under 37A. I'll let Ms. Sit Ho respond first. Please be concise. Chairman, according to the rules of procedure, members should not impute motives into other members when they speak. So Mr. Pt1 said in his, just now that it seemed that I was trying to do this and was trying to do that last time. And I think our remarks and comments should be based on facts.
I don't think a member should try to label somebody by basing on wild guesses. So I think Mr. Tam should withdraw his remark against me. I think different members have aired criticisms of various degrees against me. So I hope we can stop this. We should stop being personal, and we should have mutual respect among members. All right? Mr. Albert Chen. It's a matter of the attitude of members, whether we respect others or not. Point of order. We mustn't consider or impute any motives to any members. So you should make a ruling. It isn't a matter of trying to pacify us. So you have to find out whether anybody has tried to impute any motives to any member's speech. You should stop. Well, I have already heard what members have said, including criticisms against officials, against me, and among members. So I hope I'm the chair. If you want to have a dialogue with me, I have to enforce Rule 45. Let me say this once again. Members must respect each other for what you have been saying. If it is a matter of imputing motives to another member, I think we should know the sense of proportion. I don't think we should be offending others. We shouldn't use offensive language. If you do, then I will make a ruling. And if members are offending others, I will also make a ruling. I won't continue with that point. Next, the next to speak, Mr. Yip Kin Yun. Mr. Chairman, before I speak, I would like to raise a point of order. Just now, we were dealing with two different points. First, criticisms against other members. Second, imputing motives to another member in relation to the latter's speech. Just now a member asked for a ruling. I think it is appropriate and it is only right for you to do so. So first of all, please pass a ruling on that point before we carry on. Please finish with the rest of your 3 minutes. I hope you will make a ruling. I have already made a ruling. I hope that from this minute onwards, you would not continue with the disrespectful exchanges, including imputing improper motives to another member. If members continue to speak in this way, I would then tell you what I intend to do. I think your ruling is a matter of giving a piece of advice. Yes, usually that's what I do. At first, I will give out a piece of advice and then a warning. I would like to say that if you interrupt with the proceedings of the meeting, then I will have a more severe warning. Mr. Yip Kin Yun, please carry on with your speech. Mr. Chairman, I speak in support of Sit Ho's motion to adjourn the proceedings of this committee. My understanding is that for this request, it means that she is in effect voicing a protest against the proceedings. In other words, she finds that it is problematic, and so she would like to stop the discussion. So we need to find out what we are here for. We live in a very complicated society. Just now, Mr. Tamu Chung has said that members of the public in the community are very concerned about the matter and people are being mobilized. It exactly shows that it is a very controversial topic. It involves a lot of complexities. For a complicated and controversial issue to come here, then it means that we must deal with it in a thorough manner. We shouldn't just go after efficiency. Yes, efficiency is important in any society. We have to pay attention to being efficient. However, when we are faced with a complicated issue, if we only go after efficiency, it means that we will commit a very serious mistake, and we have to doubt whether we are carrying out our mission. I think our mission is to gather together the different views of the society, try to sort them out and try to have dialogues. Now we try to have a debate, ask questions and press for more information. This is the way that we discharge our duty to monitor the government. It is also a very important mechanism for members from different political backgrounds to deal with each other. Sometimes we have to vote on a matter, but then before we put the matter to the vote, obviously we must have had adequate exchange of ideas. Every member has the duty to ask questions if he or she thinks that there is a question to be asked. If he doesn't, it means that it goes against his duty as a lawmaker. A very important task of the chairman is to enable members to have opportunity to ask questions. So you act as a facilitator. You should also protect us in the sense of safeguarding our rights and responsibilities. Of course, you also have to check whether we are repeating ourselves. You have to bear in mind efficiency. But it doesn't mean that this can be allowed to prevail over our right to speak. So please take a look of Rule 64. In other words, we should allow members to have ample opportunities to ask questions thoroughly. Does another member wish to speak? If not, then I would like to check with the administration if the administration would like to speak. No. Then I would like to put the motion to the vote. There, a member claims division. Before I put the matter to the vote, I will give Mr. Ho 2 minutes to sum up. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm forced to move this motion because when we adjourn, it means that the rest of the agenda has to be suspended. This isn't what we want to do. We have asked the administration to reorder the sequence of the agenda items, but they refused. So they are responsible for this. And Chair, you have stopped us from asking questions which haven't been asked before. So we have no choice but to ask for an adjournment. We hope that we can make use of the interim time to allow officials to talk to the residents. Unfortunately and regrettably, officials refuse to talk to the residents. They even refuse to walk through the protest zone. They would rather make use of a secret passageway so as to avoid meeting with the villagers. And that's why villagers have been made very angry. Just imagine if you have to move house, you are under a lot of pressure. Not to mention that for the villagers, they have built their homes there and they depend on the farmland for their livelihood. They have spent most of their lives there. Now you want to have development there. You want to resume their land for compensation, rehousing, and relocation of farming. No details have been given. The Secretary for Development has time to write a blog. He has time to write articles, and yet he finds no time to meet with the residents. Why? Is it because you are not able to meet their requests? I think we all serve the public. Now you take away their homes. You rely on statutory powers to do so. You need to go there, meet with them, and explain and negotiate with them the compensation and relocation package. I now put the question to you, and that is this committee. Yes, the bell for division will be rung for 5 minutes. Mr. Kwok Kim, why is it that the member who raised this point could be given 2 minutes to do so? I don't think this is being allowed in paragraph 39. This is a matter of discretion. In fact, if officials would like to ask questions, I would have allowed the officials to do so. Therefore, I also allowed the mover of the motion to do so. I don't think this should be allowed, otherwise it would become a precedent. If it is related to this matter, I have already made a ruling. Yes, I would like to ask the clerk to explain briefly. Mr. Chairman, Rule 13.8 says that under certain circumstances, a member may speak more than once. The mover of the motion at the end of the debate may also speak again. I think this falls into the scope of discretion. Thank you. We'll soon be putting the question to the vote. That is, this committee decides that we should adjourn the further proceedings now. Members, please proceed to vote. Before I declare the results, members, please check your vote. Voting comes to an end. The results are to be displayed.
57 members present, 22 yes, 34 noes, no abstention. The question is negatived. Please ask those concerned to leave the conference room and the public gallery.
本委員會咧，現在咧
So the committee, this committee will now deal with motions moved by members under Section 37A of the FC procedure. Mr. Fernando Zhang, please be brief. Is it a point of order? Under Section 46 of the FC procedure, before putting an item to the vote, the chairman shall ask members if they have any further questions. So this is clearly laid down in the FC procedure. I, as one of the FC members, have further questions. So please allow me to ask questions. This is clearly stated in Section 46. Yes, I understand that you've written to me and to the legal advisor. Now, I will ask members if they have any further questions before the item is put to the vote, because we are now not putting the item to the vote. I think a point of order. Yes, please be concise. Mr. Albert Chan, please be brief. So, a member has cited Section 46 of the FC procedure. Can I now ask you to cite the relevant section of the FC procedure that you are relying on to conduct the meeting in this manner? Did you say that you would ask members if they had any further questions before the Finance Committee dealt with motions under Section 37A? Now, I hope that you will not argue with me over my decision. I need to now deal with motions moved under Section 37A. So which section of the procedure are you relying on? Please do not continue to debate with me. I'm not trying to debate with you. I just want you to cite the relevant section. There is no need for me to continue to debate with you this matter. I just follow the procedures. I've already given you an answer. Please do not continue the discussion with me. I'm not having a discussion with you. I don't have the right to have this discussion with you. All right, according to our decision, I will not continue the discussion with members on our meeting arrangements. Mr. Gary Fan, please be brief. Please be brief. What is the point of order? Now, you are chairing FC meetings because of the powers conferred on you by the ROP and the FC procedure. I have this paper with me, and it's a letter dated 14th of January 2010 from Ms. Pauline Ng. So this is the precedent. We have all along been following this precedent. If members have no further comments or questions, then there are no provisions in the ROP or the FC procedure giving you, the chairman, this authority. In other words, as members of the FC, if we still have questions, we have the right to continue to ask our questions. And that was why the member asked you to tell us the source or the basis of your power. You have to explain the basis of your power, the source of your power. How come you can disallow us from asking questions? All right. Section 31 states that the chairman is responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the committee. All right, so let's follow the FC procedure. We now deal with the motions under or moved under Section 37A. Please do not disrupt the proceedings of the meeting anymore, or I have to invoke upon Section 45. All right, Mr. Fernando Zhang, that is the last point or the last comment on point of order. Mr. Fernando Zhang, yesterday, late in the afternoon, the Secretariat issued a letter to all FC members on how the chairman intended to conduct the meeting. So it was said that the discussion in the eyes of the chairman had been adequate, and so the chairman would proceed to deal with motions under section 37A, blah, blah, blah. But I think what is said in this letter is different from what you've just told me. I said that under section 46, you need to ask members if they have any further questions. I said we had not come to that point yet. So what about this letter? I just want to clarify. We will not go on with this discussion. So we will now consider members' motions proposed under para 37A of the FC procedure. Now, if members continue in this manner, I will have to invoke upon section 45. So perhaps the clerk can tell us how many motions there are before us and who are the movers, or who the movers of these motions are, and then we will make arrangements to vote on these motions. Out of the 939 motions submitted by members, the chairman has ruled that 40 will be dealt with by the committee. 20 of them were moved by Mr. Leung, but then Mr. Leung is not here today, and so we'll not deal with such those motions. And then we have the remaining motions moved by different members. 10 by Mr. Gary Fan, 6 by Mr. Chen Chi-chun, 1 by Mr. Leung Yu-chong, 2 by Ms. Claudia Moore, and 1 by Mr. Albert Chan. And the wording of the motions will be displayed on the screens. Mr. Gary Fan has been asked by the chairman to amalgamate two of his motions, and he has already done so. Ms. Sitho has submitted 4 motions, Mr. Fernando Zhang 13. And in the course of the meeting, we'll try to help the chairman decide whether these motions will be put before the Finance Committee. All right. So while we are having our meeting, we at the same time are studying the motions moved by members. All right, so you can see the serial number at the top right hand corner, and if necessary, the members concerned may choose to read out the wording. So this is the first motion.
5號係范國威。
Motion number 105 by Mr. Gary Fan. So members can please refer to the wording displayed. So this is motion 102. For those who are in favor of dealing with motion 105, I beg your pardon, please raise your hands. I would like to claim a division. All right, the bell will ring for 5 minutes.
可以由你讀。
Yes, you can read out your motion. According to Section 37A of the FC procedure, as the government, in spite of strong opposition from the public, still decides to go ahead with the Northeast MT development project, the Finance Committee urges the administration to, under 772C, give priority to local construction workers so as to provide more employment opportunities for the local construction sector. And I think I'll look at whether the FTU will oppose the handling of this motion. Now, I have asked you to read out the wording, and please observe the rules. You should not be commenting on the motion.
現在開始表決。
Voting begins.
喺我宣布。
Before I declare the results, members, please check the votes you've cast. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. 47 members present, 17 yes, 29 noes, no abstention. The question or the motion is negatived. Mr. Ip Kwok Him, I move that the division bell be rung for 1 minute instead of 5 minutes if further divisions are claimed during this meeting. So Mr. Ip Kwok Him is moving this motion, and if there are further motions moved during this meeting, and if a division is claimed, then the division will take place after the bell is rung for 1 minute. Those in favor, please raise their hands.
There should be a discussion first. Sorry, speaker is off mic. Is there a need to speak? One minute only. No, I can't give you all 4 minutes each. Now, we are just voting on the duration of the division bell. So if you allow you to speak, I allowed you to speak briefly, so I will only give you 1 minute to speak because we're talking about the 1 minute division bell. Please do not challenge on this matter. I've made a decision. If you would like to speak to the 1 minute duration bell, please press your button to speak. I allowed you to speak for 1 minute each. I have already decided that you are given 1 minute each to speak. If you are to challenge me, then I'm prepared to invoke Rule 45.
請肅靜。
Order, please. Order, please.
請嗱，如果想聽法律。
If you would like to listen to the legal advisor, I will ask him to say briefly.
各位委員。
Members, order, please. Order. In accordance with the advice of the legal advisor, in accordance with Rule 38, we can at most give you 3 minutes to speak. Just now, I said that you should be given 1 minute. It's up to me to make a decision. If I have your support, then it will be 1 minute. For those who are in favor of 1 minute. Please write down the wording of your motion. Just now, Mr. Yip Kok Kim has already moved the motion. That is, in the case of further divisions. Order, please. Order, please. Secretary or clerk, please read out the motion. Mr. Chairman, just now, Mr. Yip Kok Kim moved a motion to the effect that in relation to further divisions on the same matter, then we shall proceed immediately to the division after the bell has been rung for 1 minute. Now, for any discussion on this matter, members will be allowed to speak for 1 minute. In relation to this suggestion, please vote on this matter. Please don't have a dialogue with me. Chairman, clerk, please provide a brief supplementary remark. Mr. Chairman, just now the legal advisor was probably talking about the procedures concerning the FC. We have some general rules of speaking, and that's concerning the duration of speech. Now, the chair was saying that he would like members to vote on his suggestion. That is, members should be allowed 1 minute to speak. Now, if members are in support, then in relation to Mr. Yip Kok Kim's motion, the time for speaking will be 1 minute each. I think it is very clear. That is, you can speak for 1 minute as the discussion. This is to speak to the motion of Mr. Yip Kok Kim. Those who are in favor, I claim a division. Mr. Raymond Chen claims a division. The bell will be rung for 5 minutes. There is still time left, so I will be brief. I would like to briefly let you know what we are voting on. Order, please. Order, please. Since the time isn't up yet, so I want to take this opportunity to explain. What we are going to vote on is that whether you are in support of speaking for 1 minute on Mr. Yip Kwok Him's motion that in the case of further divisions, the bell will be rung for 1 minute. So that's the motion to be voted on. So please take note of it. I just want to remind members once again what we are going to vote on in a moment. That is, whether you are in support of having a discussion for 1 minute, so as to vote on Mr. Yip Kwok Him's motion that we allow the bell to be rung for 1 minute in the case of further divisions.
動議輸咗就去返一個最低嘅3分鐘。
Then we'll go back to the minimum of 3 minutes.
唔係最高啊！我講錯咗係最高。
Sorry, maximum 3 minutes. I made a mistake.
係最高3分鐘。開始表決。現在開始表決。
Voting begins.
喺我宣布表決之前呢，請委
Before I declare the results, members, please check your vote. Voting ends. The results are to be displayed. Members who are present, 48, 34, 17 against, no abstention. The question has been agreed to. That is, we can speak for 1 minute. So members who would like to speak on the 1 minute division bell, please press your button to speak. Albert Chen. Mr. Chairman, I formally motion that in relation to this debate, I would like to move a motion to adjourn the proceedings. Mr. Chairman, this is legitimate. This is lawful. Now we're having a new motion. So this is separate from the previous motion. Now, in relation to the motion of Mr. Yip Kwok Him, I now suggest that the motion should be adjourned. So please consult the clerk. This is separate because I would like to adjourn the motion moved by Mr. Yip Kwok Him.
應該 propose 㗎嘞喎。
請容許俾少少時間。
Please give us a bit of time to read it.
好，我哋反正5點鐘咧就係。
In any event, we have planned to have a break at 5 o'clock. So we'll have a break. We'll come back at 5:10, and then we have our second session. So let's have a break first.